in this video, it's gonna be pretty much focused on MJF. But just to go over it a little bit, relatively quick, Daniel Cormier will be the lead, ESPN's lead for coverage of WrestleMania. I don't know how much WWE is going to be leaning on ESPN at WrestleMania this year, or for WrestleMania this year, but Daniel Cormier will be the lead for coverage, as WWE and ESPN are usually really close together for WrestleMania, and ESPN usually does some bang-up coverage for WWE during WrestleMania weekend, or not really during WrestleMania weekend, but more on the actual day of WrestleMania. Also, Kofi Kingston sustained an injury last Friday night on SmackDown, and it is very possible that Xavier Woods may take his partner's spot in the Fatal 5-Way next week on SmackDown to determine who will challenge Gunther at WrestleMania. And also, Jacob Fatu and John Hennigan will be meeting on April the 8th at War Chamber for the MLW National Openweight Championship for the very first time ever in a singles capacity. With all that out of the way, let's continue with the recap out of the way. Let's continue as David Finlay is now a member of the Bullet Club, being managed by Jay White's former manager, Gato, at the most recent New Japan event, where at the 51st anniversary show on Monday, David Finlay actually jumped Jay White at Battle in the Valley, which was Jay White's last New Japan appearance. And as Gato went on to say during the event, during the anniversary show, Gato took the mic, and after the match with Tomohiro Ishii, he said that the Bullet Club needs a rebel, and it's basically given the indication that David Finlay may not only be a part of the Bullet Club, but he may be the faction's new leader. Either way, I'm happy to see it, because that's one thing New Japan knows how to do better than most companies. It is, when somebody leaves, slotting somebody else new into the faction, into the Bullet Club, and using the Bullet Club to pull up a new face and make them famous. I mean, every member of the Bullet Club, from Kenny Omega to Jay White to AJ Styles, have been a former world champion. I mean, everybody except Finn Balor, to be fair. But David Finlay also advanced to the next round of the New Japan Cup, which was in its it's still in its early stages at the New Japan Anniversary show. We still have some first round matches left to go, as Tama Tonga as Yoshihashi and Kyle Fletcher, Shingo Takagi and Aaron Hanar, and Tomohiro Yano and Mark Davis, as well as Ren Narita and Evil, are yet to go, as they will take place. Those matches are set to take place on March 10th and March 8th, respectively, with Ren Narita and Evil and Toru Yano and Mark Davis set to take place on March 8th, and Yoshihashi and Kyle Fletcher and Shingo Takagi and Aaron Hanar set to take place on March 10th. And right now, Shota Umino, Great-O-Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., Sanada, Kenta, Tetsuya Naito, Chase Owens, Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, Tama Tonga, and Hiroki Goto are all the members of the next round of the New Japan Cup. So it is if there's one thing that New Japan knows how to do, it's put together a tournament that keeps people watching. March 15th will also be the next time we see the Rebel of the Bullet Club, David Finlay, going against Great Khan, and also on that night, Zack Sabre Jr. will fight Shota Umino. But that is an update from New Japan, and as always, I will keep you guys up to date on everything that happens with New Japan and other companies. But now we shift over to AEW and Maxwell Jacob Friedman. This week, though, on March the 9th, Max Friedman will be a special guest on the Impractical Jokers. Impractical Jokers, the one thing I will say is that even though Max is AEW World Champion, do not expect to see the world title with him on that show, because the Jokers his episode of the Jokers was filmed last year before he won the title. So that is why if you watch the show on Thursday, you will not see Max with the AEW World Championship, because frankly, he wasn't the champion yet. But also, Max went on record, apparently, according to a WWE employee, Max said that he is looking forward to joining WWE in 2024, which, as everyone knows, one thing Max has been talking about for years at this point is the bidding war of 2024. And the fact of the matter is, I think you need to take this with a pinch of salt, because if there's one thing that Max likes to do, it's work everyone and anyone. And the fact is, we won't know until then, but I think if WWE does give Max the most money, then Max will leave AEW to become the next person to jump ship to WWE. I could definitely see that coming, and I could see Max becoming a huge star in WWE, but I just think that Max will have more free range in AEW either way than he does in WWE, but that's just me. Now, we move to something that I really don't know everything about, but I do know some things about, and that is that Max, according to reports, this is coming from Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer at the Wrestling Observer. During the Iron Man match, Max slipped to the outside and he poured what many thought to be water on a young fan. Basically, he took a drink from the mother of a young fan and poured it on her young son. According to Brian Alvarez, that the fan that Max had the interaction with was not a plant, and multiple sources say it was not water, which I'm sure Max did not know. Apparently, it was tequila, and some of the tequila got in the kid's eye, and the kid was not happy. There were fans in the arena started giving the kid their merch, whether it was a shirt, a poster. Amanda Huber came out and brought the kid backstage and they gave the kid merch, and let him meet wrestlers, gave him tickets to the show in Sacramento. Meltzer also noted that Tony Khan never runs down his talent. He never rips into his talent, but Tony Khan did rip into Max tonight and basically said that Max did not act like a champion. Max did not act like a champion, and he praised Titus, who was the young fan who had Max poured water on, or poured tequila on, basically. And I mean, he praised him, but basically ran down Max and said that Max did not act like a champion. Here's more of an update on the incident. During his Iron Man match against Bryan Danielson, Max grabbed the cup from a woman at ringside and splashed its contents on the woman's young son, who was sitting next to her. I completely agree with Dave Meltzer. I completely agree with Dave Meltzer. I completely agree with Brian Alvarez's account of the incident, that I think that if Max knew it was tequila, that Max would not have splashed it on the young fan. He would not have splashed it on the young fan. If I think he looked, he saw a clear substance, he thought it was water, and that's why he splashed it on the young fan. He knows that that would get him heat. He knew what he was doing in that regard, but had he known it was tequila, he wouldn't have done it. Simple as that. I completely agree with that. I'm sure that Max did not know that, but as Max said, the only thing we've heard from Max on the incident was that the kid looked thirsty. There will be no, repercussions or, secondary outlook of the incident because honestly, like Alvarez said, it was an honest mistake. And honestly, it was something that Max should not have done in that very moment because I understand Max likes doing that stuff, but it's a something of you know doing it to somebody your age is different. Doing it to a young fan is something that you should reconsider. He should have reconsidered. That's basically what I would say. And I think that there will not be repercussions, but it's something that Max should refrain from doing in the future. That's all I'll say. With that being said, though, we got one more thing to cover, and I will save that for a separate video because it's something that now, with what was talked about in the interview with Austin Theory about his match at WrestleMania, it makes you question what's going to happen at WrestleMania. So let's save that for the next news video. And with that being said, I will see you in that video. But let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on what happened at Revolution and, well, how much of a mistake it was for Max. But either way, let me down in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next news video.